broadcast. What?
You didn't hit the period to go.
Oh, I did.
So I just did. You're good.
All right. Well, I didn't have my finger on the trigger. Marty Winkle, thanks for reminding me as you are now watching Stay Curious. Thank you for watching, Space Fans. For over 25 years, the American Space Museum has been preserving the birth of the American space age in downtown Titusville, and we are broadcasting live from the Stay Curious Studios at the American Space Museum. Glad that you joined us today and hope that you can find your time to sometimes visit us. But if you like our show today, tell people to like it, share it, and get on board because we're going to give you some space history and space current events like none other on YouTube. So thank you, Marty Winkle. He is a space worker like so many that are here at our museum giving docent tours. Marty only armed the pyrotechnics for the ascent and descent stages of the lunar modules. Not too bad of a job, huh, Marty? Welcome, my friend. Hope you had a nice Christmas. Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mark. Hope you all had a nice Christmas.
Well, we did, and we've enjoyed our time off. I'm re-energized, did a lot of thinking about where we need to take this show, and we're going to focus a lot on current events in the upcoming months and see how that works with our numbers. But our show will answer any question that you have out there. There's no topic too big or small. We've talked about the UAPs with somebody who says he's seen biologics last year. We have talked to over 44 space workers today on Stay Curious, or this year on Stay Curious, and dozens of regulars that have been on this show over the years. So thank you all for staying tuned today. Let me push my YouTube smart tablet there, and I see that I'm live, so I can say hello to our regulars out there. We got a special Stay Curious watcher we're looking for, Marty. Hi, William Whiting. Hey, Steve Jokums. Great that you guys joined us today and hope you had a festive holiday with your families. We're looking at something that's in the news right now behind me here, and that's the Webb telescope. Actually, the upper half is the Webb telescope image of the same galaxy that the Hubble telescope took, to give you an idea of how they see differently, like putting on polarizing filters almost on glasses. You can see things that weren't there before. So hope that you have had a wonderful holiday and continue to have a new year. This will be our last show really for the year 2024, and we're going to reprise 2024 next week on Thursday and Friday when we join you after the bells of 2025 ring. Marty, 2025, boy, that seemed like a long time ago in 1968 when you were working on that Grumman lunar module, doesn't it?
Not only does it seem like a long time ago, it was a long time ago.
Exactly. There's Carlton Bailey saying hello, and he has got some breaking news there that I'm going to spring on you, Carlton, that I also found out about. We want to thank the Ramanujan family for their financial support this year. GoHistoryTravel.org is their little website that outlines where they go all over the world, mostly to space museums and science museums and places of historic note, from authors to artists. So the Ramanujans, we appreciate all you've done for us and will in the future as they're committed some financial support to Shuttlefest. Happy holidays to everybody. I enjoy the Hubble telescope greeting cards that they took some of the imagery of the Hubble telescope years ago, now orbiting the Earth for 34 years and counting. And this was my little greeting to many of you. Merry Christmas, in a beautiful little ornament that Corinne Braden, the president of the Museums of Brevard, gifted me this year. I believe it came from her father, and she wanted a good home for it. And my gosh, really like that ornament of Michael Collins with his little pencil mustache, Marty, from Apollo 11. And if Santa didn't make it to your house, well, maybe this was the reason why, Marty. Did he make it to your house?
Of course. No coal.
Which one you're saying?
No,
Which house?
no, he definitely made it to my house.
Definitely made it to your house. Good. Well, there were some people up there in upstate New York, apparently, where all those drones have been that didn't get their gifts on time there. And there could be a reason why there. We want to remind you all of the very patriotic and reverent memorial that we do every year. We being the American Space Museum, partnering with the city of Titusville, Florida. It's been my privilege to be part of this as the MC and host with Al Terrio for the past 5 years. And please come to this if you're local. Your heart will just be beating with love and appreciation for our 17 fallen astronauts, the Apollo 1, Challenger, and Columbia crews. And Andy Allen is going to be the guest speaker. And Andy, Marty was on Columbia 2 of his 3 missions. In fact, he was commander of Columbia. So it certainly is a meaningful ceremony for Andy Allen, who's also CEO of Aerodyne, very involved in the space business. Andy is, and a good friend of our museum. Breaking news, and I'm going to try to bring you more breaking news and things happening on the Space Coast because, Marty, we live too close to the bone here. We kind of get jaded a little bit. These noisy rockets going off left and right. I believe we're up to 91 or 92 launches. There's one at midnight, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday morning and Monday morning, I think, is when there's the next 2 launches. But we're not going to tally those up yet. We'll tally them up next week when we come back to you after we say hi to 2025 and goodbye to 2024. Breaking news. Thank you, Connie McDaniel. She sent me this that Carlton Bailey just checked in with, that Blue Origin's New Glenn demo flight is going to be at 1 a.m., Marty. What is it with these guys? Don't they want to see their rockets except just the exhaust of the engine? I don't get it. I would think you would want to see the rocket completely if it had some stress fractures and blew up or whatever. But they've got infrared cameras for that stuff too. But it's Sunday night, a week from Sunday, January 6th, 2025, 1 a.m. Yes, I'm going to get up, Marty, and I'm going to go over to Cocoa Beach and watch it. Why not? This is what it looks like with a telephoto lens from Cape Canaveral Beach. The picture at the top up there. So they finally picked a date. Nope, they're not going to get it in like they were insisting. Even news reports this morning still talking about they thought they would sneak it in before the end of 2025. But this rocket is 320 feet tall, Marty. Not 220 feet tall like the Falcon 9. It's 100 feet taller, just 30 feet shorter than the mighty Saturn V rocket. So you bet I'm going to get up, and I'll bet the beach is packed at 1 in the morning on a Monday morning, Sunday night. So we'll see. I'll be there, and I'm sure it'll be all over the internet, so you can join it with us. There is Jeff Bezos with his CEO, David Limp, looking at the behemoth that has, I'm not going to say how many engines. Somebody tell me how many engines are on this. I think I know, but let's get other people engaged. This engine is a 3D printed engine. A maiden test of anything is so crucial. And Bezos is on the right there, and Limp is on the left there. So they're getting down to the nitty gritty here. So can't wait. And Mitch Rothman says he's glad everyone had a good time. He is checking in from Land O'Lakes, Florida in Pasco County. Thank you, Mitch Rothman, and thank for your financial support this year. We won't let you down. And with financial help also from Steve Jokums and many of you else out there, it means a lot, and we're going to put the money always goes to good use. Well, breaking news. Oh, let me get the new Glenn, see if I missed any stats here. They've got national security missions booked on this, and Amazon satellites for an internet service called Project Kuiper. Okay, and Project Kuiper is again bigger internet cell towers When you think of communications in space now, that the Starlink satellites are almost 6,000 of them orbiting Earth. Those are just cell towers, folks. That's all they are, relaying your phone calls to your family and friends. This is no New Shepard type of suborbital rocket that's out there in Texas. This is the real deal that's going to put gigantic payloads into space. It's only 5 years behind schedule, but you know, your Amazon dollars profit went right into there. Bezos's profit of Amazon, right there, you're looking at it. Well, this is exciting to astronomers all over the world, is that the Parker Solar Probe, they're saying touch the sun. It came within 3.86 million miles, under 4 million miles closest to the surface of the sun. It is 6,000 degrees hot, but actually the environment that's in the atmosphere of the sun is 1,000,000 degrees hot. And this happened over Christmas Eve. And we've heard back from it. It actually went black on purpose, December 20th, went within 4 million miles of the sun on Christmas Eve, and it just shouted back to us today that everything was A-OK and the spacecraft built to withstand this heinous environment of solar radiation, X-rays, heat. It's just fine. And this is a beautiful, beautiful achievement for solar scientists on there. And it has broken the fastest human record of anything made human, 430,000 miles an hour it was going. This is the size of a car, size of an SUV. So it only weighs a few thousand pounds. Well, probably more like 5,000 pounds with the insulation and all. And this is the 22nd time since its launch, August 12th, 2018. You remember that launch of a Delta IV Heavy, Marty, 3:31 a.m. I believe that was a Saturday morning or Sunday morning. You go to NASA's Eyes on the Solar System page and you can follow what's going on there. But this was its 22nd close approach of the sun, closest one it did. Then it loops all the way out past the orbit of Mercury, 25, 30 million miles away, and then it's going to go in for another close-up. And it's just not taking photographs, which are really hard to take at 40,000 miles an hour and not get blurred. This is an artist's rendition of it here. But it's analyzing the sun like we've never analyzed the sun before. So good for you, Parker Solar Probe, named after one of the first solar physicists, Mr. Parker. Yep, Steve's got the answer there. Jokum, 7 BE4 engines on the New Glenn first stage there. I thought there was 5, but there's 7. So we'll see how that works out. January 6th there. Marty, you got a question?
No, that was it. But you just said 7.
Great.
4 engines.
Surprise, surprise, Steve.
4 engines.
There's 4 engines?
Yeah.
Steve says there's 7.
No, 4.
BE4 engines on the...
Yeah, 4 engines on the first stage. Where do you see 7?
Right before, he says 7 BE4 engines on the new Glenn.
I'm sorry. I didn't read it correctly.
Yeah, they're called BE4. Yeah. Blue Origin something. Blue Energy 4. Well, don't see him on there yet, Cliff Watson, but we're looking for you, buddy, because Cliff Watson sent Marty and I a Christmas gift. And we're going to open them up. Of course, he would send something green, Marty. Yeah. Cliffy, come on board. Wake up there Saturday morning. That right, it's Friday night. He must have been out tying one on because he's in Pomona, Australia. And thank you so much. We have got so many wonderful friends like you all out there. Steve Jokums sends me gifts all the time. The UCAC brothers, Chris Callie, Doug Forrest out there in California. We just love you to death. You are our foundation that's going to take our museum to better places, and more solid financial journey, we hope. So Tom Celentano chiming in that he was at the Parker Solar Probe launch and hasn't been back yet. Yeah, well, that was 2018. You need to make a trip here, Tom, and we'll put you on right beside me, and we'll talk shop here on Stay Curious. So, well, let's see what else. Cliff Watson, where are you, buddy? Uh, well, on this date in history, I'm going to make a whole bunch of new slides, Marty. Guess who that is waving at us? That's Nicole Stott, who I've got up on our shelf with Mike Leinbach in the Discovery hatch cover, all three of which I've met personally, including the hatch covers on our wall here. There's Nicole Stott on her EVA waving back at us. And what happened on this date in history, December 27th, 2024? Well, I'm glad that you asked, because I know Mitch Rothman knows what today is. It is when we fished this baby out of the ocean. The Apollo 8 command module splashed down on the Pacific Ocean December 27th, 1968 at 10:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after daybreak, probably out there in the Pacific. 1,000 miles southwest of Hawaii, and the USS Yorkshire hoisted her up there, and I believe Apollo 8 is in the London Science Museum. Mitch Rothman had a picture of that with his lovely wife Paula on a show we did last week. Of course, Frank Borman, Command Module Pilot James Lovell, and Lunar Module Pilot Bill Anders there. Lovell on the left, Anders in the middle. Lovell's on the far right. Borman passed away last year. So did Anders in a tragic airplane crash. And 96-year-old Jim Lovell is still around to tell about it. I've seen recent pictures of him, and somebody locally who has talked to him this year, like in the last couple months, and he's very lucid and enjoying his time in an assisted living where his family is close to him in Chicago. So the crew is in excellent condition. Of course, this is the first time these three human beings, looked at the moon with their own eyes on a 240,000-mile journey to orbit the moon 10 times and then come back. And who will never forget the tribute that they did on Christmas Eve in there. Steve Jochum says, yep, it is Apollo 8's at his not too far from him in Chicago, Illinois, at the Museum of Science and Industry's Henry Crown Space Center in Chicago, Illinois. And that's appropriate for Jim being a native Chicagoan there. Thank you, Steve. And Apollo 10 is in London. He adds to that. So I'm just going to quit guessing next year about anything, Marty, and just defer to our Ken Jennings of Jeopardy there, Steve Jokums. But he's not as old as us. He'll find out what it's like, right? We got a couple birthdays here to celebrate, and boy, is this a favorite among the young men of age in Japan. There is Nako Yamazaki. She is 54 years old today, born in Matsubu, Chiba, Japan, 15 days in space on STS-131, and a JAXA astronaut, retired after that mission. There she is last year. This is not a live shot of her in the cupola, though 131 would have had the cupola up there as 130 took it up to the shuttle. But she was in space in 2010. All right. And she was also in space when a historic moment happened, and that was 4 women were in space simultaneously. And there you have Dorothy Metcalf Lindbergher on the left in the blue. Down on the bottom, that is, of course, Tracy Caldwell Dyson, who just came back from Expedition 71 on the station. And you've got next to her Stephanie Wilson, who got bumped from the SpaceX Crew 9. And they were up there with Yamazaki on STS-131. So there you have 4 women in space, a historic moment in on Expedition 23. Well, we got a couple other birthdays tomorrow we wanted to pass on real quick. Marty, nobody remembers the second person to do anything. Like, who was the second person after Lindbergh to cross the London, go to London across the Atlantic? You know, because I've said it a few times. Who was the second person?
If you're asking me, it's Amelia Earhart.
I'll ask you.
Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart, 5 years later. Well, you're looking at the second person to do a free spacewalk, and this is Robert Stewart. Robert was born December 28th, which is tomorrow. He will be 82 years old, born in Washington, D.C. And I think that's right. And then Michael Collins, there he is there. If his birthday isn't today, I'm going to double check it. But there he is on his second spacewalk on the manned maneuvering unit, the second person to do it in 1984. Mike Hopkins, former commander of Crew 1 and veteran of 2 international space expeditions, was born December 28, 1968 in Lebanon, Missouri. So going to make him 66 years old. No, 56 years old there. Yeah, don't push it there. He's just 56 years. And there he is. He is a. I got Stewart's birthday is actually in August, so someone's going to correct me on that, and I see my error. 5 spacewalks for Hopkins. 333 days in space. Wow, Expedition 64, 65, and 70, 37, and 38. Fighting Illini, he was a defensive back. All right. And so very athletic guy there. Mike Hopkins, happy 56th birthday to you. Born in Lebanon, Missouri, growing up on a farm in Richmond, Missouri. And then here is a friend that I love, this guy, Akiko Hashidi. Hashidi is turning 54. No, actually, he's 56. He's born in 1968. This is a slide I made a couple years ago. So he's one of 3 people to fly in 3 different spaceships. Now I think that number's up to 6. A shuttle, a Russian Soyuz, and a SpaceX Crew Dragon. All right. And I'm wondering when Butch, Sunny Williams, I think she did take a Soyuz to space, so she will take a Dragon back after the Boeing. They'll have 4 spaceships, maybe she will. Hoshidi is an interesting guy. How many days in space does he have? He still qualifies to go back to space. And one day I'm doing a moon gaze at the beachside hotel on a Friday night, and a Japanese woman and man come up to me to look through the telescope. I recognized the woman was from JAXA. And I said, gee, I remember you when we launched astronaut Hoshidi to the space station last spring. And she says, yes, say hello to astronaut Hoshidi. And so I was just flabbergasted. That here he was looking through my telescope, and we were looking at the moon and had a good time on there. So anyway, there's a great guy there. Hope he gets to go to space again. Very friendly guy. And Hayeki Hoshidi, happy birthday to you. 56 years old today. So there's my birthdays, gang, up there. We're not going to forget about the birthdays. And got a little more breaking news for you today. In fact, I got a stock tip for you, Marty. All right, a big stock tip here is, let's see who's on there. My daughter Jessica. Say hello to McKinley and Macy, my granddaughters, and my son-in-law Ryan. Glad that you all enjoy your birthday gifts. And Gary Gerald, good to see Gary, another one of our awesome supporters, Marty. We were talking before the show about how blessed we are to have so many great friends that we can put a face on. I've shook so many of your hands and given you a hug. It's really important. So, and John the Beagle Dad just added, he says he can't wait to come down and visit us again. He had a great time, so we can't wait to see you again, John. Well, stock tip, breaking news here. What is the tip? Intuitive Machine stock is up 550% there, Steve Jokums. $18.50 a share. All right. So if it's gone up 500%, that was probably about $6 a share, maybe, I'm guessing. Intuitive Machines is this lunar lander that this is 100 feet above the surface before their Odysseus lander landed and it hit a rock and it tipped it over gently, though. In that 1/6 gravity, it fell on its side. All of the experiments were working. It just fell on the side where the batteries, where a solar panel was. So it ran out of power pretty quick. But this is a hot commodity. Lone Star tech company owned by Chris Stott, uh, Nicole Stott's husband, had a successful test of their hard drive. I believe they sent back they sent the Constitution was sent to their Houston office, and they sent back the Bill of Rights on a hard drive, so you can store your hard drive, your pictures on the moon now. Eventually, is what that's all about. Um, well, Intuitive Machines had a banner year. The Houston-based company announced Monday that it had clinched additional contracts from NASA's Near Space Network for $4.8 billion maximum potential value of the Near Space Network contract. The new award includes provision of geostationary to cislunar direct-to-Earth services, as well as cislunar direct-to-Earth services for highly elliptical orbits and deep space operations. That's right. We need satellites around the moon to relay the data from the backside of the moon or even the pole, South Pole, where everybody wants to go because that's where the water is, frozen, of course, in the lunar regolith. So Intuitive Machines gets a lion's share of this $4.8 billion contract, and its stock is soaring. It is LUNR on the stock exchange there. So, little stock tip for you there. But that the American Space Museum is in no way responsible for your investments of any kind. So, just that disclaimer there. All right, more news that's making headlines. Not only the great discoveries as we look back at 3 years since the launch of this revolutionizing telescope, the James Webb Telescope, named after the great NASA administrator who took us to the moon in the 1960s, overseeing the whole program. Well, there's an artist's conception of it, 18 mirrors that each one is half the size of the Hubble telescope mirror, unfolded and were launched by after they were launched. Let's get some details on that with my notes here. Launched on Christmas Day 2021, all right, by an Ariane 5 rocket from Guiana Space Center, French Guiana, South America. Its 18 hexagonal mirrors are already an iconic image in space imagery as a pendant or ear rings and such. The meticulous origami-style unfolding of the telescope's elements took 4 months to complete to the first light. That's when it first made images. And since then, the treasure trove of groundbreaking science has poured back to Earth. The telescope is folded up here and put in this shell there at the top. So incredible. I watched it. You watched it Christmas morning. I think it was about 8 in the morning launch. My heart was pounding because this was a very, very sensitive instrument, packed origami style. Yes, they did consult with expert origami people. That's the folding deal of the Japanese culture. And it went into clouds right away too, as I see the clouds there. So you didn't see it go up very long, but it was a complete nominal flight, nominal closeout. I believe there's like over 100 different pins that had to open up, or latches that had to open, and if one of them didn't, of over 100, it was no good. The telescope would be a trash can orbiting the Earth. Well, it's in a halo orbit. There it is. But you see the technicians there at the bottom, right there. Right there's the technicians there. There it was when it was released. Cool shot, getting a picture out of the payload bay of it glistening as it went to what's called cislunar orbit. This is at what's called a Lagrange point, where about 900 million miles from Earth, between the Earth and the Moon, is a sweet spot where the gravity of the Sun, the Earth, and the Moon all kind of, they don't cancel out. They keep you in the same area of space. So though it's orbiting the Sun, it's staying in the same general area in relationship to the Earth and the Moon, and therefore it is in constant contact with us all the time. Originally called the New Generation Telescope, okay? It is now being celebrated with, again, news headlines. A new stamp has been issued by the U.S. Postal Service, and many of you stamp collectors out there enjoy hearing stamp news, including Chris Calley, our artist partner, who's designed over 20 American and other countries' postage stamps. And this is Star Cluster IC 348 on the left, and Spiral Galaxy NGC 628, if you want to know it, on the left. NGC stands for New General Catalog, that astronomers started putting together objects. And the Star Cluster IC, I'm not sure what that catalog is, interstellar catalog or something like that. But it shows these images from the Webb telescope to have a postage, regular delivery and express delivery. And there could still be changes to them, but they will be available sometime in the spring of 2025 to honor the 3rd year of operation of the James Webb Telescope. Well, here quickly, the James Webb has 4 key goals. 1, search for light from the first stars and galaxies that formed the universe after the Big Bang. And it has done that. In fact, it finds stars and galaxies that shouldn't be there. They're way too young. Some of the early galaxies are 600 million years old. They don't understand how a galaxy could form that quickly. So it's also to study galaxy formation and evolution, to understand star formation and planet formation, and to study planetary systems and the origins of life in those planetary systems. So it sees in the mid-infrared, and this is a spectrum that we can't see with the human eye. This is a Hubble telescope over here. That's what we would see this galaxy look like. But if you could see infrared light, you would see it like this. All right. Now, infrared detects heat. Think of the heat infrared detector that can tell you're sitting on your couch from the police car that's sitting out across the street from your house. We have such technology, and you've seen that on CSI shows where they can tell bodies of the dog and so forth inside. Think that, because the Webb telescope looks through the dust and gas of objects, and therefore it's very good at very cold objects. It's an incredibly sophisticated telescope. Its telescopes operate at 400 below zero, Marty, and it sees things in space. It even found a question mark of galaxies. These are primordial galaxies. In fact, these are not stars in the dots here. These are galaxies that are forming over millions and billions of light years away. Yes, Marty?
Yeah, breaking news, Mark. Dave Stange informed us, congratulations to Larry Puskar, who's the new grandpa today.
Larry Puskar's a new grandpa today? Well, congratulations to you, Larry. Thank you, Dave Stange. We're promising you all kinds of breaking news today. Thank you, Dave, up in Macomb, Michigan. And I got to share some of his ornaments on Facebook the other day, and that was real popular. So, Larry Pushkar, happy birthday, Grandpa. We all know what that means, all of us grandpas out there, and I'm a proud one to say hi to little 3-year-old McKinley and 1-year-old Macy, who had a lot of fun. And now the whole family can keep time better, because they're telling me they like the guitar clock that I sent them. Well, let's get back to a couple things that are very cool that the Webb telescope has seen. See that diamond necklace there in the middle, Marty? Pearl necklace, if you will. This is the remnants of a star that we watched explode in 1987. All of a sudden, in the Large Magellanic Cloud was a star that appeared that wasn't there before, and it was a star that blew up. We couldn't see it up here in Florida or up in Michigan or Connecticut because it's too far south. But um, nonetheless, we've watched since 1987, okay, almost 40 years, this thing unfold as to what's going on. And when a star explodes, you have a violent reaction, all right, and that throws material out that slows down. Well, usually stars explode and have another explosion. It can burp out a big gas cloud before the big explosion, but it can have other explosions that are more violent and have more velocity to them. And that's what's going on here is those pearl necklace inside the inset there are areas where another explosion has caught up and is buffeting and reacting in a violent way with the material that was blown out maybe a year earlier on there. So we've never seen stuff like this before except with the Webb telescope. Now, we also can see from your backyard, you can't see it, but it's there. Go out your backyard, go look south. So all of you look towards Florida, okay? And you're going to see above the horizon, see the tree line here, a bright star called Fomalhaut. That is in Greek, in Arabic, that means the mouth of the fish. And it is in the southern fish, Latin Piscis austrianus, okay? A constellation named by the Greeks and the Romans with an Arabic name for a star. That star is fairly bright. You can't miss it. Some cultures call it the lonely one because it's the brightest star in the area. Except you look way above it, go above Fomalhaut, and you will see the planet Saturn. And of course, I'm going to do some backyard stargazing here with you when we end the show. So Fomalhaut, if you could see it, it actually has a solar system forming around it, and it is 3 spans of the full moon. We would see it, and it looks like this in the Webb telescope. We actually see the ring. It's tilted towards us a little bit. You see the ring of debris that is forming a solar system of planets, and we believe that inside that disk is a planet being formed. And they have seen this with the Hubble telescope move over time over the 35 years of the Hubble. So Fomalhaut is a solar system forming in your own backyard right there. Go check it out. And above Fomalhaut will be Saturn. Then a couple other things about Hubble, the Webb telescope gives us an infrared look at the planet Jupiter, where we're actually looking in past some of the colder clouds into the warmer areas inside the globe. This could be 1,000 miles deep, the bright areas there, and different structures, even the rings. See the ropey-like rings of that Jupiter has around it. Doesn't have a ring like Saturn that's very visible except through long exposures. And that is that Saturn, Marty? No. That's not Saturn. That is the Webb telescope photo of Neptune, 2 billion miles away. Light takes over half a day to go get there to reach you, over 12 hours. And Neptune has 2 distinct rings around it that show up in infrared. And then you see these hot spots here. These are atmospheric storms going on in Neptune's atmosphere 2 billion miles from the sun. The sun is, you don't even need shades to look at it, Marty. It would be just about as bright as Venus is in our evening sky. And we'll see Venus here in a bit, a little brighter than Venus, but not much more. And but that's Neptune from the Webb telescope. You can see its axis is kind of tilted back a little bit away from us. We're looking up at the southern hemisphere of it, and heat from the sun, radiation, 2 billion miles away, still reacts with this very cold 300 below atmosphere of mostly methane and nitrogen on Neptune. Well, we did have some other stamps issued in 2 years ago, the first anniversary of the Webb telescope, the Pillars of Creation, a new take on it from the um, Hubble's Pillars of Creation, same image, but we got more detail out of it in a much different way. And what's going on there, Marty, is all these little nodules up there, like above my head, those nodules there, those are little solar systems forming around stars, okay? Our solar system would just be like one of these little nodules, like right there. That's what's going on in this gigantic cloud in the universe. Well, Cliff Watson, I don't see him there yet. Huh. Well, Cliffy, I know you'll be watching here. He sent us this package that I got today. There's a picture of Cliff. We're going to open up our gifts here in a minute. Well, let's see if he shows up at the end. There's Cliff right there. All right. And we'll wait and see if he shows up at the very end. But Cliff, thank you. Most generous. Again, another financial supporter, does what he can in his own way. And I can't wait to see what it's not ticking. So it got through okay. And Trevor Roberts is talking about Nibiru, and that is a planet X that could be projected out there beyond. So let's go out with a little bit of stargazing from your backyard, because you're going to be outside getting away from the family or getting a nice breath of fresh air over the New Year's Eve holiday coming up here. So how old is the moon, Marty? And I didn't look up the moon. I think it's about 25 days old. Would you get me my phone over there? Is my phone over there, Marty? Shoot. Yeah. The moon is a 29.5 day cycle. So when astronomers talk about the moon is 25 days old, we're talking about, hey, it's going to be dark all night outside. So the moonlight's not going to interfere with us, okay? And that's when I got an alert from the Brevard Astronomical Society saying Biolab this weekend. That's one of our dark areas, the Biolab on Route 3. That is north of the Kennedy Space Center entrance, north entrance there. So I've got an app that is the moon phases. Of course, I can't go to it right away like I always do. Phases of the moon. And it says on there, let me bring it up there for you. 27-day-old moon. The moon's 27 phases of the moon. 20 is 9% of it's illuminated. So I say 27-day-old moon. That means 28, 29 days is new moon. So it's going to be new moon tomorrow. The moon is 400,000 kilometers away. So that's times 6 is 240,000 miles. Pretty close to us. It's going to rise at 4:15 a.m., about 3 hours before sunrise. And you won't see it. It will be close to the sun when it rises in there. So 27-day-old moon, to talk like an astronomer. That means let's get outside, get your star map, and go see some sights. This is the December sky chart. And we're talking about the 27th, 30th is new moon. All right. It starts lunation 1262, way back when they gave the lunar cycles numbers, so people, scientists in particular, can refer to when that is. What lunation is that talks about the year. So in the months. So get outside. The brightest star to the east, after sunset, is going to be Venus. And there's Fomalhaut and Saturn. So you see Venus, you can't miss Venus. Just go outside. You can miss it if it's cloudy, Dave Stange. And understand that. I was going to take pictures on my own, but it certainly is been cloudy around here, which is kind of bittersweet because we've had clouds over the Christmas holiday and not normal sunny Florida sunshine. Don't tell that to the Chamber of Commerce's, but kind kind of made you feel like you were in myself in Tennessee with enjoying Christmas instead of down in Florida. That's kind of weird when it's 75, 80 degrees out. Venus is going to be super bright. Fomalhaut, dead south, and above it, Saturn forming a triangle. You need a good telescope to see the rings. But you can see the phases of Venus as it goes through phases like the moon, because it's between the Earth and the moon. And here's Venus the rest of the year. You see January 1st up there in the upper left. It's going to keep getting a little bit higher and higher and peak in February 1st. It will be super high up in the west. Take about 2 hours to set. All right. When it gets low in the sky, it looks like a UFO, an airplane, a big light coming at you. And boy, can it be twinkling because of the atmosphere that it's going through, the Earth's atmosphere. But sometime around April 1st, it will disappear as it's going to plunge from February to March to April below the horizon and then pop up in the morning sky. Jupiter was near the moon was near Jupiter. This is 10 days ago. Okay. What date was that? Jupiter was near the moon on the 14th, December 14th. But I took this picture to show you just how bright Jupiter is. All right. When you looking at Venus in the west, turn around. When it's nice and dark, you'll see Jupiter will be the other brightest star. And there'll be a real bright star to the left of it, about where the moon is. That's a Canopus. Not Canopus. Canopus is south. That's called, I'm trying to think of that. Capella. There's a university on TV that they advertise called Capella University. So Jupiter's going to be very distinct. And Saturn, through a telescope, the rings are going to be more edge on as they were there. There's Jupiter, will look like that in a telescope. You can see two of its moons to the left there. And that object right there, since we were talking about it, is Neptune through one of my friend's telescope. A challenging photo of Neptune, all about the same magnification, 175 magnification there. But the rings are going to look like a spike going through it. They're almost edge on. So with that, I thank everybody watching today and say peace on earth and in your world and your life on there. Marty, let's open up our gifts from Cliff here. All right. From Cliff Watson. Never did chime in on us there, so I'm going to open up mine here. Cliffy, thank you so much. I know you'll be watching this. Oh my gosh, look at what he got. I recognize the logo. Australian Research and Space Exploration. This is what they call NASA. Is ours. Okay. Did he send you the same one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. To explore and understand the deep unknown. That is ours. Okay. Cliffy, God bless you, man. Wow. That's beautiful. Look at that Arse coffee mug there, guys. Thank you so much. I'm so lucky to, he stuck in there a koozie too. Wow, opportunity koozie and an Arse mug. Well, Cliff Watson, God bless you and all you stand for, my friend. And we can't wait to see you back in America there. But Marty, you got the same thing?
Yeah, same thing. Thank you, Cliff.
Well, cheers to you, Marty. Key your mic and thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the box. I don't want to throw the box away. ARS, Australian Research and Space Exploration. So the bar has been set high here at the end of 2024, everybody, as we thank you all for spending your time to watch us today. And we've become a family, a community here, and I'm so happy about that. So let's do in 2025, make it a bigger community that will mean more financially to the American Space Museum, as we are a proud nonprofit. We don't want to lose you, our fans out there and our friends out there. So that wraps up today's episode of Stay Curious. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the wonders of space. Remember, the American Space Museum is here to inspire, educate, and honor the pioneers of space exploration, just like my friend Marty Winkle, working on the lunar module and then the engines of the space shuttle. So if you enjoyed today's stream, please tell people to share it with other people, and tell them to get their friends on board, as we love getting your comments. So, and if you find yourself in Titusville, Florida, come and visit the museum. Until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying, God bless you for what you've done for us in 2024, and I will see you in 2025 to bridge the space between us.